let's talk about the new stuff. All right. So first of all, REV1. Holy shit. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. So cool. So excited about this. Again, I'll review it when I get it. I have one on the way. Shouts to agiprodj.com. They're hooking me up. But I'm very, very excited about this. So one thing a lot of people have been saying, it's like, you know, the layout. Nobody likes the layout. And Pioneer finally, and like, you know, they basically made two controllers. These new controllers, they made in the image of a battle style. Like they made it battle style. Every controller since the beginning of time has been in a CDJ kind of style, right? With the pitch faders on the sides and whatnot. This is the first time ever any company, to my knowledge, made a controller that is battle style, which is like, you know, if you use turntables, this is kind of like a familiar layout. And I'm really glad they did this. So like battle style, if you're not familiar, right? If you look at turntables, like this is how I use turntables, right? They're turned to the side. So it's like a 90-degree turn to the side. So you have pitch faders on top. And then, of course, the mixer's in the middle with the buttons and stuff, right? So you got the buttons here, similar to kind of like a turntable setup. And then you also have the pitch faders on top. That's similar to a turntable setup. That's the reason for the layout. Now, if you have only DJ'd on controllers, you start on a controller, you use controllers regularly, all that, this is going to be a little bit of adjustment for you, right? Especially with the REV7 too, with having moving platters. Going from no moving platter to a moving platter will be an adjustment. It is a pain in the ass. I remember I went from a controller to turntables, and it was a whole pain in the ass to learn. Okay, I was there. So trust me, it is a little bit of pain in the ass, learning curve. And, you know, pitch being on top, buttons in the middle. This layout may not be familiar to some people if you've never used turntables, if you don't use turntables. This may not be for you. You know what I mean? Just give it some thought. Maybe stick with the 1000. Maybe like do the Rain one or whatever, you know? But I think it's great. I think if you want to get comfortable in a turntable-like setup, if you want to start scratching, if you're a new DJ that never DJed before, but you want to be like a scratch kind of battle type DJ, you know, getting this, I mean, the REV1 is perfect. It's a perfect place to start to really like, you know, learn how to DJ and get familiar with that whole setup. And it's going to be so easy for you to jump from this to the REV7, jump from the REV7 to real turntables and a mixer. You know, I think it's genius, and I think I'm very glad they did this, and I think it's been a long time coming. So I'm a big fan of the layout. I think this is perfect. There's a couple cool features too. Like I'll pick out a couple of my favorite features of this controller, which is insane because this controller is $260, by the way, $259. So it has 5.5-inch platters, which are huge. You don't get platters this size on a beginner controller like this. It's insane. You know what I mean? 5.5-inch platters. It's huge. You have a scratch bank, right? Everyone's familiar with scratch bank. Then tracking is a new feature. They call it tracking. So essentially when you put on tracking and you get like a scratch sample, like an A or something up, when you scratch, the tracking, I think there's like 5 or 6 different tracking modes. Again, when I get this, I'll demo it, you know, so I can actually show you. It's tough to explain, but look up videos online. There's a ton of videos online with it. All you have to do is just move the platter with your hand. That's it. You don't have to use a crossfader at all. The tracking does the crossfader for you. So it'll do different patterns, different transforms, different cool patterns on there. And, you know, again, it's scratching for you, but I like it because it kind of, you know, it can motivate you to kind of learn. Like, I think what it's meant for, just like with the, I think it's called the SB3 or whatever it was that had like where it scratched for you. It's basically giving you patterns to practice and learn. Like I look at it like I learned how to play piano with one of those Casio keyboards with the light up keys, and the keys would light up and it would play itself, but then I could follow the keys and learn how to play those songs myself, right? Same thing here. You just move the platter, it'll scratch it up for you. You listen to those scratch sounds, and you can try and mimic it yourself with the crossfader. I think it's a great learning tool. I think it's super, super cool. If you want to be a cheater, you know, quote unquote cheater, and just use it instead of scratching in real life, I mean, I guess you could, but you know, I think it's for the purpose of learning. It's a really, really cool feature. Shouts to Pioneer for that, and I think Jazzy Jeff had a big to do with that. And it also has the FX dongles, so you can put the effects on with the dongles, which is I think I love having the little dongles, the little dongle things. I think it's easy to use. It was invented with the S9 years ago, and I think it's just like the easiest, most intuitive way to use effects. And a cool thing about having the FX dongles makes this controller very, very, it gives a great selling point to the controller. I'll help you. If Pioneer, if you're watching this, I'm going to help you guys out, okay? I'm great with advertising. You got to hear me out on this, okay? Because you have the dongles on this, you can advertise it like this. Pioneer DDJ REV1. Same FX as the Rain 1, only 84% cheaper. Think about that. Now that is a selling point. I mean, it's got the dongles. The dongles control the Serato effects. So this $259 controller literally has the same exact effects as the Rain 1. And the Rain 1 is $1,600 MSRP. So for 84% less, people, you can get the same effects as the Rain 1. Write that down, Pioneer. Use that in your marketing. You're welcome, okay? I'll give you that one for free. You're welcome.